Lancia Fulvia Coupe, 818, 1965–76. With its victory in the 1972 Monte Carlo Rally, the Lancia Fulvia Coupe 1.6 HF brought Italians closer and more passionate about rallying, laying the first bricks of a grand castle of victories signed Lancia. It began with the Fulvia and continued with Stratos, Rally 037, Delta S4 and then culminated in the record-breaking Delta Gruppo A. In the early 1960s, Fessa, technical director of Lancia, which passed in 1959 under the management of Carlo Pacenti, succeeded with the Flavia in starting the lineage of front-engine, front-wheel drive cars. A professor at the Polytechnic University of Turin, Fessa is a staunch advocate of this technical solution, which was innovative for the time but would later become the most widely used approach by all car manufacturers, even today. It is customary for Lancia to have a pair of sister cars in the range at the same time, one larger and one smaller scale, such as, for example, Aprilia, Ardea and Aurelia, Appia. Thus in 1963 the Flavia was joined by the little sister Fulvia, which combined innovation and tradition in the technical solutions adopted. It sports, in fact, the novelty of front-wheel drive but with a four-cylinder narrow V engine, which follows the Lancia tradition. 4 efficient disc brakes, another rarity for the time, reaffirm the excellence of the equipment, many of which were derived right from the Flavia. The Fulvia Coupe was born 2 years later from the design of Piero Castanero. The then head of Lancia's style center was inspired by the shapes of Riva motorboats, and designed an elegant 2+2-seater sports sedan with a light-filled cabin, characterized by large windows and a much more inclined windshield and rear window than the sedan version. The first Fulvia Coupe mounts an 80 horsepower 1216 CFM 4-cylinder engine, which soon increases in displacement to 1.3 and then 1.6 liters. The elegance and class that distinguished this model did not prevent the Lancia HF racing team from employing it in competitions, particularly rallies. The acronym HF stands for High Fidelity, that is, High Fidelity. After the great successes in competitions achieved by Gianni Lancia in the 1950s, the Lancia sports team was reborn in February 1963 almost as a private initiative of loyal fans of the Turin brand, because Fessa's engineering approach was not conducive to competition. It is Cesare Florio, driver and son of then Lancia communications director Sandro, who animates the squadra course. The young Cesare, the team's sports director, would become in the following years the architect of Lancia, Fiat and Abarth's great successes in rally and endurance championships, and in the late 1980s he would take the helm of Ferrari's F1 team. Thus, from the Fulvia Coupe came the HF versions, intended for racing, cars more essential in their finish, without bumpers, equipped with aluminum doors and hoods and with upgraded engines. The first HF was born with a 1216 cm engine increased to 88 horsepower, with a 4-speed gearbox, 435 examples from 66 to 67. This was followed by the 1.3 HF with enlarged fenders and 101 horsepower, 882 examples between 68 and 69. On the last ones a 5-speed gearbox was experimented with. In 1969 came the 1.6 HF known as the Finalone, or Finalona, because of its original larger high-beam headlights. It reached 115 horsepower, 130 with the 1016 variant, and was built in 1258 examples, plus 20 reserved for the squadra course. The Fulvia Coupe 1600 HF second series, made without more aluminum parts and mostly in the Lusso version, numbered 3690 in all, produced from 1970 to 73. The racing debut of a Fulvia Coupe is at the 1965 Tour de Corse, but the apotheosis of celebrity for this model is the victory at the 1972 Monte Carlo Rally of 1972, when Sandro Munari and Mario Manassi with the Lancia Fulvia Coupe 1.6 HF number 14 grabbed the victory worth a career. The Fulvia Coupe is an elegant car that women really like, even for racing. Perhaps it is no coincidence that one of the first victories of a Fulvia Coupe 1.3 HF is by an all-female crew, a rarity more now than then. At the 1968 Sestria Rally, the irrepressible Pat Moss, sister-in-law of the world-famous British driver Stirling Moss, navigated by Swedish Elisabeth Nyström, took the victory ahead of three other Fulvia HFs in the expert hands of the official drivers, KLSTRM, Barbasio and Anderson. It is not a matter of chivalry. Pat Moss a few weeks earlier had come second in the grueling San Remo Rally, a race valid for the European Championship when the World Rally Championship did not yet exist, leaving behind not only his stablemates but also his French rivals with the fearsome Alpine. Colored Amaranto Montebello, with a yellow and blue band, the heraldic colors of Turin, running lengthwise across the hood, roof and trunk. This is the livery that characterizes practically all 1.2 and 1.3 HFs but also the first 1.6 HFs, later made mostly in Rosso Casa color. And it is precisely the red livery, with the hood painted in matte black to cancel out reflections and embellished with the inscription Lancia, Italia, that characterizes the most famous of all Fulvias, the legendary 1600 HF with the race number 14 that triumphed at the 1972 Rally Automobile de Monte Carlo, imposing itself over the most powerful and modern competitors in the legendary special stage of the Col de Turini on January 28, 1972. In the rain, wind and snow, the French team raises the white flag, while the German rivals pay the price of excessive power combined with rear-wheel drive. On the icy Turini hairpins, Muna Uri/Manasi's Fulvia was unbeatable thanks to the good power-to-weight ratio and the greater maneuverability guaranteed by the front-wheel drive, while the team victory was crowned by the fourth place of Lampinen, Andreessen and the sixth of Barbasio, navigated by Pirino Sodano. A memorable night, coming when by then the Fulvia, in production for years, had already raced a lot and given a lot. In fact, it had started winning in 1969, first at the Elba Rally with Barbasio and then with KLSTRM in Spain and at the RAC in England. But that of the Monte in '72 was an extraordinary success that gave a boost to all of Lancia, raising sales and prolonging the life of the Fulvia Coupe, which finally went out of production in 1976. To celebrate the victory at the Monte Carlo Rally, a special edition of the Fulvia Coupe 1.3s called just Monte Carlo was produced, echoing the look of the now legendary Fulvia 14. Subsequent victories at the Morocco and San Remo rallies allowed Lancia to win the 1972 International Constructors' Championship, definitively popularizing a sport that was struggling to make its way to the Italian public. Perfectly preserved, still with the marks of that legendary night on the bodywork, the legendary Fulvia HF 1.614 is on display at FCA Heritage Hub in the Rally Era area, where a total of 8 competition cars from Lancia, Fiat, Abarth that have dominated roads and dirt tracks around the world are on display.